Snowboarding and skateboarding gave me a chance to express myself. It gave me a chance to feel like everyone else. When you put your goggles on, you have your jacket on, there's no way for them to know that I'm Indigenous. They simply look at the way that I move and I'm free to just be like everyone else. And that feeling free is something that not a lot of people really understand, and it's beautiful. My name is Siganok, which means blackbird in my Anishinaabe culture. I am blessed to be the executive director of the First Nations snowboard team, which is now the Indigenous Life Sport Academy.
So everyone go grab your gear.
I first got involved through my friend Chelsea McCutcheon. I heard through the rumor mill that she was working with this awesome program, and I literally just went, Chelsea, like, how can I help?
Line bender, bend your knees while you do it. I got involved with the First Nations Snowboard Association in 2004. When I realized that there was an Indigenous snowboard team, I was blown away. I was determined to be a part of it at any capacity.
Ensure that all the kids have the cool swag. They know that they're a part of the community here in Whistler, so super stoked.
Awesome!
1, 2, 3.
We just want to open doors, break down the boundaries, and open up these sports to kids that maybe never would have thought of trying them, or it was a boundary of the cost of the board, etc.
We have an opportunity to take the youth to areas that they've never even been to, but it's their land. They get to ski on it, they get to bike on it, they get to hike on it, they get to climb on it, you name it.
I just like finding hits. Hits like on any run or drops. Those are fun.
That is the hope of breaking the dysfunction that's currently in First Nations communities, and that they can pursue an activity that promotes health and wellness.
Pretty cool, huh?
There's no way to really tell from looking at a youth how much pain is in their eyes. For me, for instance, when I grew up in Thunder Bay, I was also a part of what's called the 60 Scoop, where the Indigenous youth were taken away from their families and placed in Christian-based homes. And I was sent at least 100 kilometers away from my family. I was told I was to be someone else.
I grew up with my entire family that struggle with alcoholism, and I come from a highway stretch that is called Highway Tears, which is referencing to missing murdered Indigenous women. And our family has been immediately affected by our family members going missing, not being found, and myself and my daughter go into that statistic of Indigenous women that would be considered in a vulnerable state. And same with these girls that are back in my home community.
My grandparents grew up in the residential school systems. They weren't allowed to play. They weren't allowed to show affection to each other. So when my grandparents left the residential school systems and returned back to community, they not only didn't know who their parents were when they returned, but they didn't know how to make eye contact. They didn't know how to correctly say, I love you. Just imagine them later on having kids, and those kids having parents that couldn't make eye contact, didn't know how to correctly tell each other how they felt. That system only churns up more and more trauma for the next generations. And now with our 60 Scoop program, taking the foster care kids into the similar systems, it's creating another generation of Indigenous people not being able to heal properly. And that's where the strength of our programming comes, is breaking the cycle, ending the cycle, healing.
Does that look good? There you go, nice.
There's a lot of conflict growing up, and I didn't really know quite how to process that as a kid. Snowboarding and skateboarding really just washed that away. Nice, Ben. It was an outlet. I could take myself and express myself in these new sports and kind of also feel cool doing it at the same time too, because I had a network of friends that were supportive. I didn't quite have that at home. I didn't have unbiased support, and you can often find that right at a skate park. Good job, brother.
I remember going through many unhappy scenarios, say at home or wherever I was growing up. And the main thing I always like to do is that I could just pick my board up, just roll down the street, and just kind of get away from everything.
All right, it's getting there. Gotta get that flip. Good steps to learn how to do a four slide.
Yeah, that's the best part about skateboarding. You can do it any way you like.
I just love snowboarding, and you don't really think of it then, but now that I'm older, I can really see how it probably did steer me away from a lot of bad things in my life.
If I didn't have skiing or snowboarding, I likely would have been partying more, put myself in a little bit more riskier situations.
It's a huge thing for Indigenous youth to turn to alcohol and drugs and have nowhere else to really go. So having something like sport there as a healthy activity, I think would really help.
This is my first time officially climbing.
Yeah, nice. You're rocking.
Just being outside in general is so healing for everyone, and especially for Indigenous peoples. So to allow especially more Squamish people to be on Squamish territory is reconciliation, and it's the way forward.
When I grew up, there was zero Indigenous people or people of color, not only in my school, but at the ski resorts, at the skate parks. There were no people to look up to.
Growing up, not seeing other Indigenous women in the outdoor industry, at a young age, I knew that I had to step in and become that role model, and that's what kept me going.
We are simply there to be role models and people that we never had in our lives.
Feels very good. I never knew I had this kind of power.
I wish there were skateboarding and snowboarding programs when I grew up, and I wish there were rad Indigenous snowboarders and skateboarders that I could look up to, but we're just getting to that point now, and that's our role to be that guiding light. Through our success in our recreation programs, communities are now reaching out to us to help them. So not only are we creating role models for social change, but we're also changing the dialogues that the communities are using, and we're creating more opportunities for growth.
We are on the unceded traditional territory of the Wet'suwet'en. I was born and raised here in the community of Whitsett, formerly known as Morristown, BC. Whitsett is located 22 kilometers north of Smithers along Highway 16. It's also known as the Highway of Tears. Growing up in a community that has intergenerational trauma within residential schooling and the 60s Scoop, there's a lot of social barriers that are embedded in families.
Oh, this is amazing. So all of this is intended to go to the Wet'suwet'en community and to the youth in order to create an opportunity to access the mountain without any barriers.
A lot of our youth have experienced a tremendous amount of trauma. By bringing the youth to the mountain allowed a sense of freedom and also a connection to nature and the mountains, and being able to address those traumas in a healthy manner.
I would also like to acknowledge the land that we're currently on, which is the unceded traditional territory of the Wet'suwet'en, and I'm pretty darn certain that we're all Wet'suwet'en here, yeah? Yeah, we are, which is amazing.
Happy to be here. Awesome opportunity. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing.
She's a little crazy and sometimes super obnoxious, but what little sister isn't? Yeah, I'm stoked, man. Ready to shred the gnar.
I'm super excited to be connecting to the land again.
What I would like to give back to my community is a sense of hope and self-worth, and that everybody has a purpose and that they're meant to be here.
You can see us wipe out. Not too shabby for the second time in 9 years. Oh my God, so much fun now. For me personally, being outside makes it it's like healing. You know, I think a lot of people struggle with mental health, and as Wet'suwet'ens and as First Nations, we all need to get outside more and really connect with the land. Such a rush, man, I love it.
You want to try them on, and if they fit you, you can take them home.
I worked with Nathan at our last mountain mentorship. It was a pilot program. This week, he was able to get fully geared from head to toe.
Ready to go super fast.
So after this program, he has access to the mountain. And for Nathan, that's a sense of freedom.
You guys gave me good skis, holy.
Getting back on the traditional land with people, the Wet'suwet'en people that we have here, it's super special. I find that my spirit and my soul is being grounded throughout this whole program.
I think it's really cool that they're giving people this opportunity to get up here and learn, because a lot of people don't have the opportunity.
All this spending time together and riding together, it's brought people together.
I've never snowboarded before, just to try something new. Maybe we're better at snowboarding than skiing.
A lot of Indigenous people will consider the Red Road as a path of right relationship.
It's a distinct, different path in life that allows us to be more connected with the world around us.
The Red Road is generally spoke of as a way of healing from the spirit.
I can't turn. Okay.
Our programming gives the kids tools to feel comfortable in themselves. Whatever their passion or goal in life will be, whether they want to continue to walk the Red Road and be a strong spiritual leader, we hope to simply just give them the confidence, the self-esteem to be whoever the heck they want to be.
All right, crew. We'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Wow, thank you so much. I don't know what's exactly in here, but I would imagine snowboards, bindings, and boots. I don't know if it's all gonna fit in here. I was honestly so happy with where we were. Now we have another truckload of stuff. I'm speechless. I am so happy that works out.
Oh, they fit so good. They fit perfect. Honestly, this is way better than I ever thought it was gonna be. I thought I was just gonna come up here to get some rentals and just go skiing and just have a lot of fun and get to know you.
Good.
I so needed this for my heart.
I'm so glad.
Thank you. This has been the coolest experience ever. I learned how to snowboard, found a new love for the mountain. I'm gonna cherish these memories forever.
Oh, it fits pretty good.
I think it is one of the best experiences I've ever had being a part of Wet'suwet'en.
I think this really benefited our whole group in more ways than one.
I definitely think everybody could benefit in some way or another from this program for sure.
I want the youth to really feel that they're important because I feel that they are. I know that they are going to lead and that they are already healthy leaders. This week, I saw that and it brought me so much love and light in my heart that I know that we are going to be okay as a community.
Yeah.